course, a huge victory. She took out the defending champion in the previous round. Such an easy player to like and to get behind. Really wears her emotions on her sleeve.
Nobody in center court saw it coming. For one breathtaking second, more than 15,000 people simply froze. The defending Wimbledon champion stared across the net in disbelief. The crowd forgot to breathe. Even the commentators struggled to find the right words. Then the stadium exploded. But here's the strange part. That unforgettable moment wasn't the biggest surprise of the tournament. The real story began long before that final point landed beyond the baseline. Just days earlier, almost nobody expected Alex Eala to survive the opening rounds, let alone become the player everyone suddenly couldn't stop talking about. To most fans, she was simply another talented young player entering a draw filled with Grand Slam champions and established stars. Analysts barely mentioned her. Prediction brackets overlooked her completely. If her name appeared at all, it was usually followed by one sentence. Promising, but not ready. That was the expectation. Alex had something else in mind. She didn't grow up surrounded by world-class tennis facilities or endless opportunities. She came from a country where passion for tennis had always been greater than the resources available to support future champions. Every step toward the professional tour demanded more sacrifices than most people ever realized. By the time she walked through the gates of Wimbledon, she wasn't carrying the expectations of the tennis world. She was carrying something much heavier. Hope. Not just her own, but the hopes of millions of Filipinos who had waited years to see one of their own compete on tennis's biggest stages. Still, hope alone doesn't beat champions. Her first major obstacle was the defending Wimbledon champion, Iga Swiatek, a player famous for turning difficult matches into routine victories. A player who rarely allowed underdogs to dream for very long. Everything unfolded exactly as everyone predicted. Swiatek controlled the rallies. She dictated the pace. She forced Alex farther behind the baseline with every exchange. For over a set, the difference in experience looked obvious. The defending champion seemed completely in command. Then something changed. Not dramatically. Not all at once. It started with one fearless return. Then another. Alex stopped reacting and started attacking. Her feet became quicker. Her swings became freer. Instead of waiting for mistakes, she began creating pressure herself. The confidence grew point after point. The crowd noticed before the scoreboard did. Every winner brought louder applause. Every successful rally added another layer of belief. Even Swiatek looked surprised by the quality coming back across the net. What had started as another routine title defense was quietly becoming something entirely different. The momentum shifted. Alex refused to give it back. Every game became more competitive. Every point felt larger than the last. Then came the final rally. One more exchange. One more desperate shot. Swiatek's final return drifted beyond the baseline. Silence. A single heartbeat. No cheers. No movement. Just thousands of stunned faces trying to process what had happened. Then center court erupted. Alex Eala had defeated the defending Wimbledon champion, one of the biggest upsets the tournament had seen in years. Within minutes, social media exploded. Highlights spread across every platform. Sports broadcasters interrupted regular programming. Fans across the Philippines stayed awake through the night, replaying the winning point again and again. People who had never watched an entire tennis match suddenly knew exactly who Alex Eala was. Children imagined themselves holding a racket. Families gathered around televisions before sunrise. An entire nation celebrated together. But inside the tournament, nobody was celebrating for long. Because Wimbledon doesn't pause for fairy tales. Another challenge was already waiting. Her next opponent wasn't just another seeded player. It was Jasmine Paolini, one of the most dangerous competitors on grass. Only 2 years earlier, Paolini had reached the Wimbledon final, proving exactly how dangerous she could be on this surface. Fast movement, sharp angles, relentless consistency. Grass suited every part of her game. There was something else. History. Earlier in the season, Alex had defeated Paolini in Dubai. Not narrowly, convincingly. Professional athletes never truly forget losses like that. Paolini certainly hadn't. For months she had waited for another opportunity. Now Wimbledon had given her one. Suddenly, this wasn't simply another round. It became unfinished business. Revenge. As both players stepped onto center court, the atmosphere felt completely different from previous matches. The crowd had already chosen its favorite. Filipino flags appeared throughout the stands. Fans who had barely known Alex's name 2 weeks earlier now shouted it before warm-ups had even finished. The noise echoed around the stadium long before the first serve. Alex looked toward the crowd and smiled. Paulini never looked up once. Her attention stayed fixed on the opposite baseline. The opening games were electric. Alex struck first, landing fearless winners that sent the crowd into celebration almost immediately. Every successful point sounded like championship point. For a brief moment, it looked as though the incredible run would continue without interruption. Then reality pushed back. Paulini adjusted. Her returns landed deeper. Her movement became sharper. She began forcing Alex into longer rallies, where every extra shot increased the pressure. The momentum quietly shifted. Without making a scene, without showing emotion, Paulini slowly took control. The fairy tale was about to face its toughest chapter yet. The scoreboard still looked manageable. The feeling inside center court did not. Every rally was becoming a battle of patience, precision, and nerve. The crowd wanted another miracle. Jasmine Paulini wanted something entirely different. She wanted payback. At 30 all, the tension became almost unbearable. The rally stretched beyond 10 shots. Forehand, backhand, cross-court, down the line, neither player willing to blink first. Then Alex ripped a return that kissed the sideline before exploding past Paulini's racket. Break point! The crowd leaped to its feet. Paulini bounced the ball slowly before serving, refusing to rush the biggest point of the match. She trusted her second serve. Alex attacked it instantly. The return flew through the court before Paulini could react. Break! Center court erupted. For a few magical minutes, it felt like history was repeating itself. Just days after shocking the defending champion, Alex looked ready to knock out another world-class opponent. But champions don't panic. Neither do finalists, Paulini answered immediately. She broke back in the very next game with remarkable composure, showing exactly why she had once stood on this same court competing for the Wimbledon title. No celebration, no fist pump, just complete focus. The momentum swung again. Every game became tighter. Every point felt heavier. The commentators spoke less, allowing the drama to tell its own story. Alex continued fighting with fearless aggression, refusing to abandon the style that had carried her this far. She chased every ball. She attacked every opening. She refused to let the occasion intimidate her. Still, Paulini kept finding answers. Late in the first set, Alex faced another dangerous service game. A long exchange ended with an uncharacteristic mistake. Break point! One missed first serve. One perfectly timed return. That was all Paulini needed. She claimed the break and calmly served out the opening set, 6-4. As the players changed ends, Alex sat quietly staring at her racket strings. She wasn't frustrated. She was searching for one adjustment, one opening, one way back into the match. Her coaching team never looked worried. They had seen this version of Alex before. Earlier in the tournament, she had already recovered from losing the opening set. They believed she could do it again. And they were right. When the second set began, Alex looked like a completely different player. She stepped inside the baseline. She attacked second serves. She stole time away from Paulini before the rallies could even develop. The pressure flipped. Suddenly it was Paulini defending. A crucial service game reached deuce. Then deuce again. A lucky net cord dropped in Alex's favor. Without hesitation, she fired a clean forehand winner into the open court. Break! This time the roar sounded different. It wasn't surprise, it was belief. Thousands of fans truly believed another comeback was unfolding before their eyes. Alex still had work to do. Serving to protect the lead, she quickly fell behind, 15-30. One loose point could erase everything. Instead, she delivered two fearless first serves followed by a blistering forehand winner. Hold! The confidence returned. Her movement became lighter. Her timing became sharper. Every winner brought another wave of noise from the stands. Paulini fought back with everything she had, refusing to surrender. The game stayed close. Neither player gave away anything cheaply. Finally, serving for the set, Alex stayed composed. A wide serve forced a weak return. One clean forehand into the open court finished the job. Second set, match level. Center court exploded once again. Now everything came down to one final set. No safety net, no second chances. Only one player would continue. The deciding set carried a completely different feeling. Every point seemed twice as important. Every mistake echoed around the stadium. Paulini made the first adjustment. She began reading Alex's favorite patterns earlier than before, cutting off angles that had been working all afternoon. Little by little, the pressure shifted. Midway through the set came the longest service game of the match. Alex saved one break point, then another. She chased down impossible balls, somehow extending rallies that looked completely lost. The crowd cheered every effort. But eventually, one backhand clipped the tape and dropped onto the wrong side. Break! A heavy silence settled over center court. Not disappointment. Hope. The kind of silence where thousands of people silently wished for one more comeback. Alex refused to quit. She continued attacking every return. She sprinted after every ball. She smiled between points, determined to enjoy every second of the biggest tournament of her life. Serving at 3-4, she faced another mountain. Deuce. Advantage. Deuce again. A 15-shot rally left both players gasping for air. Finally, Alex's backhand drifted just beyond the baseline. Another break. Paulini stepped forward to serve for the match. Alex fought until the final point. She attacked every return as if the scoreboard didn't exist. She forced Paulini to earn every single shot, but experience finally made the difference. One strong serve, one final forehand, game, set, match. Paulini advanced after 2.5 unforgettable hours. Yet something extraordinary happened next. Alex didn't drop her head. She walked to the net with a smile, congratulated her opponent, and embraced her warmly. Then center court stood as one. The standing ovation lasted far longer than anyone expected. It wasn't only for a brave performance. It was for history. Alex Eala became the first Filipino player ever to reach the 4th round of Wimbledon, creating a milestone that will never be erased. The scoreboard recorded a loss. The tournament remembered something much bigger. She had walked into Wimbledon as an outsider. She walked out as one of the brightest young stars in world tennis. 2 unforgettable weeks had changed everything. Her name was no longer difficult to pronounce. It had become impossible to ignore. And deep down, everyone leaving center court that evening had the same feeling. This wasn't the ending. It was only the beginning.